Hello and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week, it chooses the horror film, and they discuss it. Today we're talking about 1986's Legend, which was directed by Ridley Scott, or 1985, I guess, if you were in France. I'm your co-host, Alec.
I'm Erik.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, I'm Bill?
I'm Sebastian.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say so. I thought you were going to keep that going.
Nah, maybe I will. Maybe I'll bring it back. We'll see.
Yeah, like, and then you always ask me, like, oh, do you know anybody named, like, like Montgomery or something?
I did know Sebastian, so...
We did. You went to high school with one.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, what happened to that kid? Anyways, Legend.
The theatrical cut. Got to make that clear, because apparently there's like 4 different versions of this movie.
That's right, yes. So yeah, we did do the theatrical cut, so we're going to get into all that, but yes, very good to clarify that up at the front. Have you seen this before?
Oh, I have a weird history with this movie.
Ooh, all right, let's get into it too, because I got a good one too, so yeah, let's get into it. What's your history with this?
So, I probably saw this when I was like 9 years old, maybe 10. I haven't seen this movie since. I remember it very, very well. My dad recorded this off the TV using a VHS player, and the version I had like commercials in it and stuff, so I'd watch it, and it'd be like over like 2 hours long, so all the commercials. But I watched that, like, there must have been like a 3-week period, and I watched it like 50 times. And I used to like talk to people on the school bus about it. I was like, oh, you ever see Legend? It's so cool, and this and that. And I just also remember watching it the other night, and I'm like, wow, this is so much more brighter and vivid, because the VHS I was using was like so dark. I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
But it hit a nostalgic point for me, because I just remember like, oh my God, I remember the sounds of the unicorns like dying and stuff. I'm like, that is like hitting a nostalgic point I haven't even thought of in 20 years, but I remember it.
Do you remember which version it was that you saw?
I believe the director's cut.
You think so?
I mean, I was reading up about like other things that happened in the director's cut, and I was like, I kind of remember watching that.
Yeah, dude. I same as you. I have like a really muddled version of this in my mind. So same thing. My dad showed this to me when, probably right around 8, because I specifically remember it was when the Titanic VHS came out too. So we'd bought that, and then we rented Legend. My dad showed it to me. It was with his ex-girlfriend and her daughter, and we're watching it. And he's like, oh, that guy's like what Leonardo DiCaprio is today. And to like, like that guy was like the hottest guy to all the girls back then. I was like, oh, and I didn't know who he was. I was like, okay.
Oh, Tom Cruise.
About Tom Cruise, yeah. He's like, that's like what all the girls think about Leo. That's what they thought about him back then. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I remember, dude, I think I saw the theatrical version first, because I really remember that intro with the card, and it's being like, there is no heaven without hell, there is no light without dark.
You know what? Then I saw the theatrical too.
Yeah.
Because I do remember the scroll at the beginning. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And that's only in this one. But then I bought the director's cut on DVD, and I have that. So I was going to put that one in. That's why I was asking you earlier which one you had seen. So I started that one, checked with you, and was like, all right, we'll do the theatrical release. But dude, I kind of went back and forth, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to like go back to the DVD and see what's different. There's a lot of different things, dude. So many different things. So I don't know which version I saw first, but I think it was the theatrical one.
I would think it's the theatrical. I think that was the one. I mean, there's also each release. There's 4 versions. There's a European release, which is 94 minutes. The theatrical release is when we watched 89 minutes, the shortest one. Mm-hmm. There's the network TV version, which, wow, I'm reading this right now. That's the one I saw then.
Oh, okay.
Because that was recorded from the TV. A network TV version, which is 94 minutes. And the director's cut, which is 113 minutes.
Yeah,
so
that's the one I've seen the most, since my childhood. That's the one I have. So
the one in my childhood was the network TV version, and that's why I was reading scenes, and I'm like, I kind of remember that happening.
Yeah, there's.
Yes, it's like that really muddies this whole movie.
Well, it's just classic Ridley Scott, dude. The same exact thing happened with Blade Runner. There's like 4 different versions of that one too. So you're just like, God damn, this guy cannot get along with the studios that he works with,
Correct me if I'm wrong. The theatrical release, Ridley Scott and Tom Cruise were not happy about, right?
Yeah, so apparently Tom Cruise, like, basically is like, that is not our vision. Like, do not watch that one. You need to watch the director's cut. Like, so, which, to be fair, dude, the director's cut has so much more for the plot that makes the plot make sense. Because this is pretty disjointed. Like,
it's another 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I can tell you as we go through the movie, like, a couple of the things that you're like, God damn it, why did they take that out? Like, So, yeah, we should get through it. But one of the things I thought was really cool about this, Ridley Scott basically made this because he wanted to make a fairy tale for his kids. Like an original fairy tale that he's like, I want to make this story about this guy Jack and like, Lily and all this stuff. So he made this with a writer specifically like for his children, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, two things before we really get into it.
Yeah.
I want to say this. Tim Curry, totally unrecognizable in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't even, if you, like, I know it's him, but if you were to tell me who's this guy, I'd be like, geez, like Bob Odenkirk? I have no idea who the hell this guy is. No, but I cannot tell who this person is.
Yeah.
It's the makeup. It won an Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to say. Two, we really need to do an investigation on Tom Cruise and how he's an actual vampire, because it just doesn't make sense. It does nothing makes sense of how young he looks though.
Yeah, man.
He has genes, dude. Good genes.
He did that movie Interview with a Vampire, so maybe he took some notes from that movie, figured out how to
little method acting.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, dude, just before we get into this, I guess about Tom Cruise, like I went through a period where like I liked him, then I like really didn't like him, and now like I look at him, I'm like, this is kind of like one of the last bastions of like blockbuster film.
Right, and I think right now he's on the up, where people are liking him again because he's being known as someone who's like saving the film industry.
Yeah,
he's really putting an effort behind. Like Maverick was a huge film, and I think Spielberg or someone wrote him a letter saying like, you literally just saved the film industry from like theaters.
And it's not even just like his reluctance to like release films until they're ready or till they'll make the most profit basically, but like what he does in the films is so above what most actors do. So you're just like, damn, this guy, he's good, and he's gonna be remembered forever, like he's Hollywood royalty. He really is.
Dead Reckoning's coming out, Mission Impossible, and I think there's a huge stunt he does. They decided to do that stunt first in case he died, and they wouldn't have to waste everyone's time making the rest of the movie. Yeah. I read that. I don't know if that holds water, but like it
makes sense. My mom even texted me. She's like, "This movie looks so good. Did you know he actually did that?" So like, people are my mom's talking about this. Like everybody knows about this movie. So good for Tom Cruise.
And the last thing about Tom Cruise, you know that like last PR issue he had where he was like yelling at people for not wearing their COVID masks?
Oh yeah, sure.
I mean, that's part of like him protecting the film industry.
Sorta, yeah.
He didn't seem like super pissed off and freaking out. He was more like, guys, you're going to get this production shut down. You're going to cost people jobs. Put your fucking masks on.
Yeah. It's true. I think he just went about it. I don't really remember it.
It wasn't bad. I was totally on his side in some way. I mean, maybe he could have done it better, but I think I was on his side. Okay.
No, I don't remember exactly what it was, but Tom Cruise, cool, good for him. This is kind of like really as his career was like right about to explode. It's like next year was Top Gun, and then it's like, okay, we're off to the races. But yeah, this movie is really good. It's kind of like a darker, never-ending story. Like it's much more insulated into like the actual world that it's in. It's not like somebody's reading a book and it goes into it. We're already in that world. But Ridley Scott and whoever was the set designers, they did such an amazing job of building this, like, such a cool world where it felt alive. But, yeah, so I guess I'll just give a brief overview of the film. Basically, there's Tim Curry, who plays Darkness, which I believe is the devil's son. And he's trying to get these unicorns, and he has to make sure they're both dead, and then the sun will never rise again. And there's this girl, Lily, who I think is a princess, or she's royalty or a lady or
She's
whatever.
a princess, yeah.
And she's off, like, with the common folk or whatever, and she has this, like, boyfriend kind of in the woods, Jack, who's this, like, not fairy, he's just a guy in the woods, basically.
Not Ferris Bueller? Not Ferris?
No, not a fairy, I said.
Oh, I thought you said Ferris Bueller. No, I'm kidding.
No, yeah, well.
That's the only other thing I know her from. I know her from nothing else.
We're going to get into her. Yeah, what a hell of a year she had. But anyways, yeah, so Jack is a guy in the woods, and he knows about the unicorns, and he's, amongst all of these creatures and stuff like that. So he tells her about the unicorns. She touches them, which causes them to go crazy, and then these goblins come, and they steal the unicorn horn, and then the adventure starts.
Rhyming goblins. Blix, he does the black as midnight, black as pitch, blacker than the foulest switch. Like everything's a rhyme.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, like what are you, Fezzik from The Princess Bride? Like, It's annoying.
I thought that guy was so scary when I was a kid. Oh
Mm.
my God.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that guy and then that Meg woman in like the swamp or whatever. I was like, okay, that's like what the Blair Witch looks like. That's what I always thought. Like because you never see what the Blair Witch looks like. So when I was a kid, I was like, I bet it looks like these guys.
Wow, that's a good connection to your childhood.
Yeah, I never forgot that. But yeah, so that guy scared the shit out of me, even though they're like fun. You know, it's like a pig guy, and like even Blix is like, he's scary looking, but he's still like whimsical and fun. I was fucking terrified of them as kids, dude.
They were scary. They were scary.
It's a kids movie.
Even on the VHS, it was scary.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, Darkness sends these goblins to go kill the unicorns as Lily touches them, which just screws everything up. So Lily becomes, I don't know, I mean, she's basically the reason this all happened is because she touches them, which causes them to...
Yeah, that's like Jack. Why don't you tell her, like, before you bring her to the unicorns, like, there's one rule.
Yeah.
Don't fucking touch them.
Right.
But you know what? Like, let's go to the unicorns and, like, kind of, like, come on.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Harambe. Like, don't let your kids go in the enclosure.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this is literally, it's like, hey, so if you touch those, potentially it could be the end of the world. She's like, I don't care. And she just goes and touches it, basically. But yeah, Jack doesn't tell her that. But yeah, so after that happens, the entire world turns to, like, snow. Which, dude, I mean, like, seriously, how impressive is the set for this movie?
I mean, I can't think off the top of my head, aside from Lord of the Rings, a better fantasy movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, beautiful. It's exactly what you'd read. You know, it looks like the covers of books even.
Yeah.
The colors are amazing. Very vivid at the beginning. And when Jack goes under the water, and by the time he comes up, that's an insane transition for sure. Unbelievable.
So yeah, so basically Lily, after she touches the unicorns, Jack just gets like horny and he's just like, it's fine, you know. He starts talking to Lily as the unicorns run away. And Lily's like, whoever finds this ring will marry me. So she chucks it into the pond or whatever, so he goes after it, and then right when that happens, the whole world turns to, snow, basically, and he gets stuck under the water and has to break out. Dude, that scene is such a cool scene. And when he breaks out, I love that.
Yeah. Lily! He's just like screaming when he gets out.
Yeah, man. But I mean, even before it turns to snow, just like there's like it's like cotton or something is just in the air, like floating around everybody, you know?
Yeah, probably asbestos.
Yeah.
No, that was Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz actually used asbestos for snow. That's a fun fact, people.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, well, I mean, that was back in the 30s, so I'm glad we've learned.
You never know.
But I don't know what it was, man. Whatever that floating stuff, it looked like fairies or just something it was just magical. It was magical.
Yeah, like dandelion stuff in the air.
Yeah. But I also got to say, like, whoever Lily's father and mother are, the king and queen, like, you got to watch your daughter. Like, you don't have any guards going out with her or anything. Like, she's just going off to the woods to meet men and
ending the world by touching unicorns.
Yeah, like maybe send some guards to watch her, but whatever. So yeah, so basically after that, Jack then meets this like group of, I don't even know what.
Elven people.
Yeah, like dwarves and elves. But they look great too. You know, it's like, so there's Screwball, Brown Tom, and Gump. And then what's Una as well. Una's like a little fairy that basically just flies around or whatever. A lot like Tinkerbell or Navi.
Has a boner for Tom Cruise for sure.
Yeah, we definitely will get into that. But so they meet this group of people and they're like, we're, I guess, the guardians of the forest or whatever. Or they're like the people that need to look after the unicorn, which they're doing a terrible job at. So they find the female unicorn is still alive. And she's protecting the male one. And the male one's horn got cut off by Blix, and Blix brought it back to Darkness or whatever. And they capture Lily, and they bring Lily to the fortress of Darkness. So, yeah, so Jack has to go with these guys to go basically save her, save the unicorns, and save the world. But, dude, I mean, the music...
Yeah, I was literally going to say we're forgetting something very important about this movie.
Well, I mean, the coolest thing ever we'll get into, but the music is just amazing. You know, there's two versions. There's a Tangerine Dream one, which is a little bit more like synthy 80s. And then there's the Jerry Goldsmith one, which is a little bit more like fantasy orchestral score kind of thing.
Both of those are in the theatrical, right? Or am I wrong?
The European or the Jerry Goldsmith, and then the American is the The Tangerine Dream, yeah, because
that is crazy.
They're like, it's the MTV generation. They have to have like synthy fun stuff. So yeah.
And this is after Risky Business, which was also Tangerine Dream, right?
Yes.
So that's another Tom Cruise thing that probably connected.
Exactly. So they're like, yeah. So it was like 2 years ago. They just did this movie with this band. Like it's a recognizable band, it's a recognizable face. So yeah, I think that was 100% why the studio forced that on Ridley Scott, on everybody. And I heard Ridley Scott, he was just like, it really is sad for Jerry because Jerry did such a good job. He's like, I thought the Tangerine Dream one was great too. He's like, they're both great, but you know, the Jerry Goldsmith one was made for this movie. You know, so it's like.
I'm thinking, I recognize the music. I think the Jerry Goldsmith one, if that's in the theatrical one, which is the one we just watched, is also in the made-for-TV one, because I remember that, like, down, 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 down.
That's a Tangerine Dream.
What? So wait, the theatrical version had no Tangerine Dream, but that was in this, though, right?
So the one that we watched had Tangerine Dream. Okay, so we watched the one with Tangerine Dream.
Got it. Okay.
The one that doesn't have Tangerine Dream is the director's cut and the European version. Got
it. All makes sense now. I watched Tangerine Dream,
yeah,
and the made-for-TV one had Tangerine Dream as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, very good. Like, you know, nothing against them, but it's just like weird when you make a score for a film and then the studio comes in and changes it because they think the audience is like, wow, they're for like MTV kids, so they're not gonna like this. It's like, okay, sure.
I'm Jerry Goldsmith did just fine with his career.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the music's amazing. But honestly, the best part of this whole movie for me is Tim Curry. Just absolutely everything. His performance is, of course, incredible, but the makeup, I'm serious. Like, I'm gonna say this right now. Is there a better practical creature? Like makeup and just presence
for the time?
Ever?
Probably not.
Ever.
I mean, ever. I mean, that's tough. There's a lot of great makeup and zombie, and this takes it to the next level. I'm thinking my whole time. I'm thinking like, how is Tim Curry holding his head up with this? Like, probably it has to be at least 10 pounds of horns. No matter what kind of material they use, it still has to be somewhat heavy.
Yeah, because it looks so sleek and it's black and it looks like it was just like waxed or something. It looks so like imposing. But yeah, no, dude, I don't know. I think it looks so good. Every detail, his eyes, the way he talks, like his chin, like everything is so good. It's kind of like Beast, like from Beauty and the Beast, but like the devil, you know. And it definitely inspired South Park too, I think.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's the Satan and the kind of the voice too, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's not like British like Tim Curry, but yeah, I think it looks a lot like this one.
So Tim Curry doesn't do a lot of makeup. Rocky Horror Picture Show, he had some. Well, I was just gonna say, like, I can imagine them like pitching it to him, or like, hey, we want Tim Curry to play Pennywise, and he's like, I'm not doing fucking makeup anymore after that Legend movie. Like, it's like, no, it's literally just gonna be like a nice like white clown makeup.
Yeah.
It's like, you can handle it. It's like, no more makeup. I can see this being a torturous makeup experience.
It was 5 hours a day.
Yeah. Just cigarettes, right? Let me see if I can find a picture of him smoking.
There's one of him drinking beer.
I just saw the beer one.
Yeah.
Oh, there's not a cigarette. That's someone putting something to his mouth, though. Yeah, that looks like it sucks.
He's just, like, his performance, too, is just so, like, it's so threatening, but it's also, like, seductive, and just, I don't know, man. He's incredible in this role. I love it.
Scary, too.
So scary.
If you're a kid, like, I don't remember, I was more scared of Blix than the darkness, but, yeah. It's scary.
Oh, I thought it was terrifying, yeah. So, you know, Jack then has to go get the armor and, like, a weapon and all this stuff. Dude, first of all, this movie reminds me so much of Legend of Zelda. Just everything about it.
There is a theory that, you know, Zelda took stuff from this.
I think it did. I think it definitely did.
I mean, especially the fairy that comes full, you know, back and forth, too, that's, like, flying around.
Her name is Navi in Zelda, and then it's Una in this. So it's, like, I don't know, 4 letters, but it looks exactly like Navi. It's just this little thing, like, bouncing on him, like, come on, come on. Yeah, but, I mean, aside from that, just, I don't know, the atmosphere reminds me of Zelda. I mean, obviously the whole mission is to save the princess. Like, it reminds me a lot of Zelda. But then the kids, we really talk about Gump, too. Dude, so Gump is like he's a 20-year-old Swedish guy, the person that played him, and apparently all of his lines were dubbed over.
I read that his accent was too strong or different from this film, so they They got the same guy, Blix, right, to do this voice,
Oh,
right?
did
Is
they?
that what it is? I think that's what I read. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that sucks. Can you imagine you're that actor and you're just like,
No,
really?
dude.
Why didn't anybody tell me on set?
David Prowse is still Darth Vader, you know? Like,
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah. That's what this kid says.
yeah, that's probably what he said. I mean, he's like, yeah, they used my voice because I like talked. I guess I was too Swedish for them, but yeah.
Yeah, but he's a cool character. He's a lot like Peter Pan. He looks like Peter Pan. And I actually heard that Ridley Scott, for the character designs for a lot of these, he really pulled from classic Disney. You know, like the devil looks a lot like the Fantasia, like gargoyle monster or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then Gump looks a lot like Peter Pan, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of derived things for sure. It reminds you said Zelda. It really reminds me of like a D&D adventure
Yeah.
game.
Oh yeah.
Like I haven't played D&D in like a few years. I never really was that into it, but this is a perfect fantasy movie.
Oh my
Like
God.
going from mission to mission, you know, darkness happens, the opening story, and then getting the armor, and then going to meet the swamp lady, Meg or Mag or what is it?
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Yeah, we were just getting there, right? So
Yeah.
he's got his armor, he's got the Elvens, they're on their adventure to go save the day, and then they run into what's her name?
Meg.
Just Meg?
I think let's see, it's Meg Mucklebones. Yeah.
It's like old Greg. Remember the old Greg video?
What was that? Yeah, what is that?
I'm old Greg.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
It's like a swamp guy. And that YouTube video, it's like from like 15 years ago.
I feel like, yeah, that's like...
I'll send it to you after this. I'm old Greg.
Okay. Well, yeah, so Meg, I was terrified of as a kid, too. And basically, she's this witch in the swamp. She comes out, and here is the scene which is like such a disservice by taking this out. In the director's cut, they have this whole back and forth where Jack is like talking to her. It's just like, you're beautiful. Why don't you look into my shield and see how pretty you are? Like, you know, he tricks her, basically. And then he kills her. Because in this, she pops out, she's like, ah! And then he just like stabs her, and you're like... Oh.
Or like she sees her reflection or something and then dies, kind of.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, he killed her. But, dude, they cut out there's a whole back and forth.
The TV version had the head getting chopped off.
Okay. All right. So maybe the head.
And then he's like, your beauty is beyond.
Yeah.
And he's like using the shield to like show her, like, and she's like waving her fingers through her like hair shit.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, maybe the version, because this version didn't have that. This version was just like, I'm Meg, and he's like, wow.
Yeah, and I hate that we're doing this. Like, oh, which version did the version? This version. I hate that.
I know.
So stop doing that.
All right. I'm sorry. Well, I'm trying to tell you the.
No. A director stopped doing that stuff.
Okay.
Not you, Alec. You're fine.
I was like, I'm trying to tell you the cool parts that I wish were in it. No, but that scene, I was like, God damn it, because that character is so cool, the way that it looks, it's so scary, and you're like, they killed in 2 seconds. Like,
I mean, it sounds like a lot of the reason why they cut that out. One, test screenings weren't good. Two, I think there was probably pressure to make it more kid friendly, and cutting someone's head off is pretty violent. Sucks.
whatever, fine.
Yeah, I know, whatever.
No, I know the test screenings weren't good, but whatever. So anyway, so they kill Meg immediately, and they're in the swamp, and basically the castle's in the swamp. So they go into the castle, which they like fall down like a pit that leads right into the jail, like, you know, which is outside of the castle. It's kind of weird. And
that's where the one sunlight hole is, right?
It's just that's how. Oh, I think that's how they get the sunlight in there at the end.
That's the last time the sunlight's there, and like they use all the mirrors and stuff to get the darkness.
Because they capture the female unicorn, and they bring her to the castle too, because they're like, we're gonna kill her. And I like that line where Blix is like, she's a female, she's no threat, and he's like, she can produce life. And I was just like, ooh. I was like, God damn. Yeah, so they have the mother, or the female unicorn, they have Lily, and they're all chilling in the castle as Jack and the crew get trapped in the jail. And they find one of the other like minions of darkness, who basically tries to, like, we missed this part, but basically he threatens darkness with the unicorn horn. He's like, I'm gonna kill you or whatever. And darkness is like, get the fuck out of here, and sends him to a jail basically in his castle. And we find out he's one of the elves. He's one of their brothers or whatever.
Yes, I mean, that's wild.
Yeah, so anyway, so they're all together in the jail cell now, and then for some reason, right then and there, Una is just like, oh, no, there's a part before when they're going to get the weapons where Una's like, I really want you so bad, Jack. And Jack's like, okay, like, we gotta do this really bad. We gotta do this adventure first. And she's like, okay. And then they get to the jail cell, basically, and Jack reveals that she can turn big, which is like, why is that a big deal? Like, why would she keep that a secret? But, so she's a fairy that can turn big and small. So they send her to go get the key to let them out, basically, of the jail. So it was kind of just like that was kind of a waste of time, I felt like. I don't know.
There's a little cop-out right there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, why is that like such a big deal? And she's like, how dare you have to kiss me? He's like, this is sexual harassment, Una.
This is really sexual favors. This is not right. And in time like this where the world's ending.
Like Una Weinstein over here. Like, this is getting a little...
Oh my god, Una Weinstein.
But anyways, so they do escape. Una gets the key, and they unlock the cage, and they get out. And then it's kind of just like 20 minutes of them fighting random things throughout the castle. But while this is all going on, Lily is kind of like, you know, scared out of her mind, trying to get out of this. And the darkness is like seducing her, like giving her jewelry and like, hey, I have this whole like feast for you or whatever. And she's resisting him, and he's just like, I want you to spend eternity with me. It's like, you don't even know her, Darkness, but
yeah.
Okay. So Lily fights it, but there is this really cool scene, which again was very altered in all the different versions of this like dance. It's like the dark version of Lily, who's in like all black basically, and does this like, you know, mirror dance with her that basically is like, okay, I'm gonna like possess you essentially. And I don't know, there's different ways to look at it, but I assume it's like Darkness and her like having sex, I think.
Yeah, I think that's in the director's cut is what I read. I don't think I've ever seen that version.
Yeah, I mean, they never do have sex, but it's just like, you're like, well, what is this? Because it looks like they're getting very seductively dancing, and then she becomes like, you know, black and the dress after they finish their dance. Lily turns into like the dark version of herself or whatever. So they figure out a plan where Jack's like, what we'll do is we'll use the light to reflect it on a bunch of shields, and it'll hit Darkness, and then it'll kill him, and we'll get out of here. But before that happens, they're watching the unicorn tied up, and all of these demons are standing around it. And here's the thing. That horse looked fucking freaked out. That horse doesn't know that this is a movie. Like, it's just surrounded by, like, the devil and, like, fire and, like, all these people, like, kill it! Like, you know, like, this horse has no idea what's going on.
Someone's in the back hitting it with a kettle prod, probably, or something.
It looked like it was like, I don't want to be here.
It's wild how freaked out that horse was.
Dude, it's like I got a fucking thing on my head, and there's like people trying to stab me and kill me. Like, I want to get out of here.
And everyone else is like, do not stand behind the horse.
Right, yeah.
No matter what. Yeah.
But yeah, it's so, yeah, that's something about movies. You're like, these animals don't know that this is a film. They don't even know what a film is. They're so out of their element right now. So, anyways. But Lily has so she tells Darkness, I'm going to kill the unicorn. And Darkness is like, oh, good. Like, I don't know why I believe you, but I do. So she's like, cool, give me the sword, I'll kill it. She then breaks the chain so the unicorn gets away, and then Jack goes down there and is like, all right, let's fight or whatever.
And now's our chance. Like, but also there was a time where Jack was going to kill her, too.
They had the arrow pointed at her, and Gump's like, just kill her!
Yeah.
Just do it!
Waiting for the end of the world!
Yeah.
Like, come on, Jack! Like, he's like, yeah, it's the end of the world. I don't want to risk it. Yeah.
It's like, she's so hot, though. I don't know. But, yeah, so he decides to trust her, and she does do the right thing, and she frees the unicorn, and, yeah. And then Gump shoots Darkness like 3 times with arrows, and does absolutely nothing. But then Jack and him go down and have, like, a, you know, pretty interesting fight.
Yeah, and then he throws the unicorn horn at him, and somehow the dull sharpness, I don't know how the horn penetrated him.
Well, it's magic. I mean, it's
magic.
Yeah, it's a magic unicorn. But before that, dude, did I miss something, or did Brown Tom just, like, black out when he got up to the top, and he was the one that was supposed to, like, reflect the first shield to hit all the other ones?
Yeah, it was, like, a lot of work for him, and he, like, kind of got exhausted.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like the altitude or what, but yeah, he kind of like fixes the mirror and then just like, maybe he died. I don't know. Oh, we see him at the end waving.
No, he's fine, but that's the thing. He just like fell over, and I was like, they should have had like a flying gargoyle or something like come and like fight with him or something, like, because this is just like, why did he just fall over? Like, that was so dumb, I thought.
Yeah, maybe like Blix or something. How did Blix die?
I know, we never see Blix.
That would have been a good opportunity for Blix to try to stop that guy from doing the light.
I know. So that was so weird. So if you've seen the movie, like Brown Tom goes up to the top of this thing to turn the sunlight on, and he just falls over, and then we never see Blix again. So you're right. Like, what? Like,
maybe that's in one of the cuts. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think I've seen them all at this point. But anyways, so then they fight, and Darkness gets hit with the light and the unicorn horn. And he's holding on to, like, the walls and is scraping it with his nails. And he's like...
Which is a sick scene.
Oh,
sick scene.
He's like, Father, help me. So he's, like, screaming for the devil, basically. And, yeah, and he's basically telling Jack, like, we are all one. Like, there is no heaven without hell. Like, that kind of stuff. And Jack's like, okay. And then just, like, hits him with the sword. And he flies into, space or whatever.
Well, he becomes a constellation, like a legend.
Oh, is that what it was?
You see, like, 3 stars appear.
Yeah, they like shoot off.
So he becomes a constellation. That's what I picked up from it, like a Pegasus or a Hercules or Perseus or Orion. Like in the sky, he's dead, so he becomes a constellation.
Okay, yeah, I mean that makes sense.
That's my take.
Hey, I like it. So the way it ends, they get back to the forest. Lily's like, "It was all a dream, Jack." He's like, "Yeah, sure, okay." And there's this cut where they go off together and, the unicorns are alive and they run off into the sunset and all the elves and the dwarves are together and they're all waving and everyone's happy. And there's a song by the singer from Yes and it's great. Everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, what's that song? I know that exact song. It's like My Love's True Eyes or something or whatever one.
John Anderson's the singer. It's, hold on, actually, I got it right here. Hold on. Is Your Love, Loved by the Sun.
Loved by the Sun.
By Tangerine Dream and John Anderson.
Yeah.
So they play that, but then the director's cut, Jack goes off by himself, and Lily's like, "You're like a forest boy, and you need to like protect the forest, and like I gotta go like be rich." And he's like, "Okay."
You stay with the peasants.
Yeah, and he like runs off by himself and waves at her like, "I'll never forget you." And she's like, "Yeah, okay." And then, like, leaves.
Yeah, that song was a good like frolicking in the forest song though
Oh yeah, I like that song.
Perfect song.
Yeah, I do like that song, and it's actually interesting because that guy John Anderson, he's the lead singer from Yes, the band, but he worked with a guy called Vangelis who did the music for Blade Runner, and they actually John Anderson and Vangelis did their own album together sometime in the early '80s, which is a great album if you ever find it. But I don't know, it's a weird little connection, like John Anderson kind of just is connected to all this stuff. Anyways, good movie, man.
Yeah, Keanu, you want to give it a Keanu rating? We don't really do that every episode, but let's give it a Keanu. 1 out of 5 Keanu's.
I'm going to go 3.9.
You know what? I was going to say 3.9 as well, but I'm going to bring it down to a 3.5 just because of the amount of cuts that pisses me off.
That's not the movie's fault. That's a studio.
I know.
Okay.
3.6, the final answer.
All right. Well, just before we wrap up here, I just got to really say, like, Tim Curry is a treasure of cinema. I mean, like, Home Alone 2. Like, he's that guy, and then he's the devil. He's the concierge from Home Alone 2. He's the devil. He's Rocky Horror Picture Show. He's the scummy professor in Scary Movie 2. Like, I just... Congo, every single movie this guy is in. He's incredible.
Pennywise.
Of course.
We've mentioned that again.
Just a fantastic actor, and it's really sad what happened to him, but I absolutely love him. So
yeah, he's still on the Comic-Con route, signing autographs for people, meeting fans. Like, he's still out there.
True dude. Really like him. So
Charlie's Angels. Don't forget he was in Charlie's Angels.
That's right. We talked about that, yeah, where Lucy Liu like snaps his neck.
I was like naming that movie. I don't know.
Well, you want to spin the old wheel then?
Yeah, spin the wheel. And spinning. Friday the 13th, 2009.
All right. Good.
Remake.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, that'll be fun. That's just you and I again, so it's going to be a lot of guests coming up after these ones.
Oh, back to back.
Yeah, so, all right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for listening in today to our discussion on Legend. Check it out. If you haven't seen this movie, like, it's really good. You're going to recognize most of the cast. I mean, there's only, like, 2 humans in it, but it's good. It's a good freaking movie. So, anyways, check it out, and we will see you all next week with Friday the 13th, 2009.